In the distant past, daily life followed a quiet and steady rhythm. Mornings arrived gradually with the soft change of light, and evenings settled in without noise or rush. People moved through their days guided by habit, nature, and simple routines that repeated themselves over many years. Long before modern products existed, humans still cared for their bodies in careful ways. Cleanliness was understood as comfort rather than perfection. It was not something advertised or measured, but something practiced gently as part of everyday living. Personal care did not stand apart from other daily tasks. It was woven into the flow of life, alongside eating, working, resting, and gathering. These moments of care were calm and unremarkable, yet deeply familiar. Teeth played an essential role in daily life. They were needed for eating food, speaking clearly, and feeling at ease among others. Because of this, people paid attention to their mouths, even without the tools we recognize today. There was no toothpaste in the modern sense, no smooth paste, no strong flavors, and no tubes kept on a shelf. The absence of these things did not cause concern, because people had never expected them to exist. Instead, care came from the natural world. Materials were taken directly from the environment, chosen for their availability and familiarity. Wood, plants, minerals, and water became part of simple routines practiced again and again. These routines were usually quiet and private. They often took place outdoors, near water, or in small living spaces shared with family. There were no mirrors guiding movement, only memory and habit. Knowledge was passed down slowly, without written instruction. Children learned by watching elders perform the same actions each day. Over time, these movements became automatic, requiring little thought. There was no single method shared across all cultures. Each community developed habits shaped by climate, landscape, and tradition. What worked in one place might not appear in another, yet all served the same purpose. Daily care did not aim for perfection or uniformity. The goal was balance and comfort rather than appearance. Cleanliness supported health, but it also supported a sense of normalcy and order. Time moved differently in these earlier periods. Without strict schedules, people allowed tasks to take as long as needed. Moments of personal care blended naturally into the surrounding hours. As generations passed, these quiet habits continued with little change. They formed the foundation of oral care long before toothpaste appeared. From these simple beginnings, a wide range of practices slowly developed, shaped by patience, repetition, and the steady rhythm of everyday life. Life before modern hygiene followed a slow and steady rhythm. People did not think of cleanliness as a separate activity, but as something naturally woven into everyday living. Care for the body blended quietly with eating, working, and resting. Homes were simple and closely connected to the natural world. Water was gathered from nearby sources, and most daily tasks were done by hand. This created routines that felt familiar and grounding, shaped by repetition rather than speed. Without factories or packaged goods, people relied on materials they understood well. Wood, stone, cloth, and plants formed the basis of daily life. These materials were used gently and with care, becoming part of long-established habits. Time moved without urgency. There were no strict schedules directing the day. Tasks were completed at a natural pace, guided by daylight and the changing seasons. Personal care was not rushed. Moments of washing or rinsing offered quiet pauses in the day. These simple acts helped people feel comfortable and prepared for what followed. Hygiene habits were learned through observation. Children watched adults perform the same actions each day, slowly adopting them without formal instruction. Knowledge passed silently from one generation to the next. Morning and evening were often chosen for these routines. They marked gentle transitions between rest and activity. In these moments, care felt calm and familiar. Water, though sometimes limited, played an important role. Rinsing the mouth or washing the hands brought a sense of freshness. Even small amounts were used thoughtfully. Cleanliness was not connected to appearance or judgment. It was about balance and comfort rather than perfection. This outlook shaped how oral care was approached. Natural scents were accepted as part of life. Without artificial fragrances, people became accustomed to subtle changes in smell. There was little desire to cover or replace them. Within families and communities, routines were shared and repeated. These habits created a sense of continuity and stability. Change came slowly, if at all. In this steady world, oral care existed as a quiet practice. It fit naturally into daily life, preparing the way for the simple methods that followed. Long before toothpaste existed, people cared for their teeth in ways that were simple, natural, and deeply connected to their surroundings. There were no smooth pastes, no strong flavors, and no prepackaged solutions. Daily care relied entirely on what could be found nearby, with methods passed quietly from generation to generation. The idea of a tube of paste was unknown. People did not miss it because they had never experienced it. Their understanding of cleanliness came from observation, habit, and experience, not from advertisements or instructions. Their daily routines were shaped by necessity and familiarity. Instead of paste, natural materials served as the main tools for cleaning teeth. Small sticks, fibers from plants, powdered minerals, and soft cloths were used gently to remove debris and maintain comfort. These items were chosen carefully for their availability and mild effects. Rather than for any strong cleaning power, in many regions, people had learned through trial and error which materials worked best. Stones and coarse powders were avoided if they were too harsh, while soft wood, fibrous sticks, or herbal substances were preferred. Over time, these choices became part of a calm, repeated practice. Water was an essential companion to these methods. Rinsing the mouth or dipping a stick into a stream provided both cleaning and refreshment. Even small amounts of water offered a quiet sense of satisfaction and readiness for the day ahead. Oral care was slow and deliberate. People did not rush through the process. Every movement was gentle, measured, and familiar. The act of cleaning became almost meditative, a natural pause in the flow of daily life. Without commercial products, each culture developed its own approaches. Some communities relied more on plant fibers, while others used powders made from ashes or crushed stones. These differences reflected local resources and centuries of accumulated knowledge. The absence of toothpaste did not prevent people from noticing the effects of their routines. They understood when teeth felt cleaner or when discomfort arose. Observing these small changes guided the choices they made each day. Care was personal but often observed within families. Elders demonstrated the methods quietly, and children imitated the gestures, slowly incorporating them into their own routines. Knowledge passed in this way felt calm, unhurried, and natural. The lack of flavoring or scent in early cleaning methods meant that people accepted the natural tastes of their own mouths. Freshness was subtle and understated, a gentle part of their daily experience rather than a strong signal of cleanliness. These early habits were repeated year after year, forming a steady rhythm in life. They prepared the way for more structured methods that would appear much later, yet they were effective in their own quiet manner. Even without toothpaste, oral care was meaningful and comforting. It offered a sense of control, balance, and continuity, helping people move through their days with ease and calm. Long before modern tools and products existed, people relied on the materials around them for personal care. Wood, fibers, leaves, soft stones, and water became the companions of daily routines. Each item was chosen for its gentle effect, its availability, and its connection to the natural environment. Life moved slowly, and care was performed with patience and quiet attention. People observed how different materials interacted with their teeth and mouths. Some sticks were too hard and could scratch, while others, soft and fibrous, moved easily between teeth. Powdered minerals or ashes were applied sparingly, enough to remove debris, but not so much as to cause discomfort. These choices reflected years of quiet experimentation and careful observation. Plants played a particularly important role. Twigs and stems of certain trees were selected for their texture, flexibility, and subtle cleansing properties. In some regions, aromatic herbs were used to provide a mild freshness, their scents soft and calming, never overpowering. The natural environment offered both practicality and subtle comfort. Water was always present as a simple companion to these materials. A dip in a stream or a handful of water poured gently over the teeth or tongue created a feeling of refreshment. These moments were slow, reflective, and soothing, marking a gentle transition between tasks of the day. Daily routines followed a pattern that was easy to remember and repeat. Morning care might involve a combination of a chewing stick and water, while evenings included a soft cloth or powdered minerals. These habits were performed with patience and consistency, creating a quiet rhythm that anchored each day. The same materials were used in different ways depending on the person or culture. In some places, sticks were chewed to separate fibers before brushing. Elsewhere, powders were rubbed onto teeth with a soft cloth or finger. No method was rushed, and all were performed with a natural, deliberate pace. Families and communities shared knowledge silently. Children watched elders perform these routines, learning through gentle observation. Over time, these simple practices became internalized, forming habits that required little thought and felt natural and soothing. The use of natural materials encouraged a strong connection with the environment. Every stick, every leaf, every bit of powder reflected the landscape and the seasons. Oral care was not only practical, but also integrated into the larger world, a part of daily life that was quiet and grounded. Even the smallest materials could be meaningful. A small piece of fibrous wood or a pinch of fine powder could provide a sense of control and comfort. In this way, care became a meditative, calming practice, offering a gentle focus amid the quiet routines of life. These natural methods required patience and attention, qualities that shaped daily life. They were simple, repetitive, and reassuring. In the absence of toothpaste, people found rhythm and consistency, experiencing care as a gentle and familiar act. Through these materials, people maintained a steady sense of hygiene without hurry or pressure. Each day offered small, repeated actions that ensured comfort and continuity, allowing life to flow smoothly and quietly. Even without modern products, daily care with natural materials created a gentle, grounding structure. It provided a sense of order, calm, and familiarity that accompanied people through their routines, softly preparing them for each day and night. Long before the invention of toothbrushes or toothpaste, humans found ways to care for their teeth using what was available in nature. Fingers, soft sticks, and simple fibers were used to gently remove food and debris. These methods were not hurried or forceful, but slow, careful gestures that became part of a daily rhythm. Early humans observed the effects of their actions and adjusted accordingly. Some found that rubbing teeth with a soft stick or finger helped prevent discomfort and made the mouth feel cleaner. Others noticed that chewing certain plants or leaves could help remove residue and provide a subtle freshness. Over time, these habits became natural and automatic. Chewing was also an important part of dental care. The texture of foods, such as fibrous plants, nuts, or raw vegetables, naturally scrape the teeth and maintain their condition. Eating slowly and mindfully contributed to oral health, allowing the teeth to remain strong and clean without special tools. Observation played a crucial role in learning. Children watched adults carefully, noting how they used sticks or leaves to care for their mouths. Through repetition and gentle imitation, knowledge was passed from one generation to the next. This quiet learning shaped daily routines that lasted for many years. Water often accompanied these practices. Rinsing the mouth with small amounts of water after chewing or brushing created a sense of refreshment. Even when water was limited, it was used thoughtfully and slowly, emphasizing calmness and care rather than speed or efficiency. Different regions developed slightly different habits depending on the materials available. In some areas, soft twigs from specific trees were preferred. In others, cloth or leaves were used to gently scrub teeth. Each method was adapted to its environment, forming a personalized and soothing routine. These practices were not rigid or uniform. Each person developed a rhythm that felt natural. Some spent more time using sticks, while others preferred rubbing teeth with fingers or leaves. The variations were subtle, but all provided comfort and a sense of order. The absence of modern hygiene products meant that the experience was simple and intimate. People became attuned to the natural textures, scents, and sensations of their own mouths. This awareness contributed to a gentle attentiveness in daily care. Daily care was often repeated at the same times each day. Morning and evening became natural markers for these quiet routines. The repetition offered reassurance and calm, integrating seamlessly into the flow of life. Even small successes, such as removing bits of food or feeling a clean mouth, were satisfying. These moments created a sense of accomplishment without urgency or expectation. The act of caring for the teeth became meditative, a peaceful rhythm within the day. Over generations, these early methods laid the foundation for more sophisticated techniques. The careful, thoughtful habits of early humans established a gentle continuity in oral care that endured for centuries. Through these slow and deliberate practices, people experienced comfort and stability. Even without toothpaste, their daily routines allowed for a sense of cleanliness and balance, forming the quiet beginnings of human oral hygiene. In the earliest routines of oral care, fingers, water, and simple cloths were often the most common tools. Without manufactured implements, people relied on what was immediately available. A finger could gently rub away bits of food, a cloth could polish surfaces, and water could refresh the mouth. Each action was slow and deliberate, performed with care and attention rather than haste. Fingers were surprisingly effective for gentle cleaning. They allowed the person to feel each tooth, noticing small particles and softly removing them. This tactile approach created a connection with the body, a quiet awareness that guided the movement of each hand. The practice was repeated daily, morning and evening, becoming part of a steady rhythm. Cloths, when available, were often made from soft, natural fibers. These were used to rub the teeth and gums lightly. The motion was careful and soothing, never harsh, providing both cleanliness and a subtle sensation of comfort. In some communities, cloths were shared among family members, though often they were kept for personal use to maintain familiarity and hygiene. Water complemented these simple tools. A few drops poured into the mouth, a gentle rinse from a stream, or a slow sip served to wash away loosened particles. The use of water was intentional, measured, and calm, reinforcing a quiet pace in daily life. It added a gentle flow to routines that were otherwise still and meditative. Daily repetition created familiarity. Each morning, the same gentle motions would occur, and each evening, the same rituals returned. The predictability offered a sense of comfort. People could rely on these small acts to provide stability, grounding them in the natural rhythm of life. This approach was deeply personal. While communities shared basic practices, each individual developed subtle habits that suited their own mouth and comfort. The softness of the cloth, the pressure of a finger, and the amount of water were all adjusted gently with awareness and care. The tactile nature of using fingers and cloth encouraged attentiveness. People became aware of textures, sensations, and subtle changes in their mouths. This quiet mindfulness was a form of care in itself, slow and deliberate, with a soothing rhythm. Even in the absence of modern hygiene, these simple tools were effective enough to remove food and maintain comfort. The goal was not perfection, but balance, keeping the mouth in a natural, functional state that supported daily life. Over time, the repetition of these motions made them second nature. Fingers, water, and cloth became extensions of the routine, offering reassurance and a calming presence. The simplicity of these methods allowed people to move through their days with gentle confidence. These early practices emphasized patience and attentiveness. Each small motion was performed quietly, contributing to a sense of order and well-being. The ritual itself became as important as the results, offering a meditative pause in the flow of life. The combination of touch, water, and soft material created a natural, soothing routine. In this way, people cared for their teeth without urgency, learning to move gently and consistently, in harmony with the quiet pace of the world around them. Even without modern tools, these simple methods formed the foundation for all later oral hygiene. Through the careful use of fingers, water, and cloth, humans discovered a rhythm of care that was gentle, dependable, and calming, a practice that could be repeated for generations. Long before specialized tools or pastes existed, the very act of eating played a quiet role in oral care. Chewing food slowly and thoroughly helped naturally clean teeth, as the textures of plants, grains, and other foods gently scraped away particles and maintained the surface of each tooth. This process was subtle and gradual, yet it contributed to comfort and health in a steady way. Fibrous foods were especially helpful. Roots, stems, and leaves required prolonged chewing, which naturally removed some debris and stimulated the gums. In this gentle motion, there was both nourishment and care, as the mouth adapted to the textures of the foods and learned to manage them carefully over time. Harder foods, such as nuts or seeds, also played a role in maintaining dental function. They encouraged chewing that strengthened the jaw and created a natural abrasion on the teeth, supporting long-term dental stability. The process was slow and mindful, giving people a quiet sense of connection to the food and the body. Water accompanied meals and chewing. Taking small sips while eating helped rinse the mouth naturally. This simple combination of chewing and water offered an understated form of cleaning, subtle yet consistent, and seamlessly integrated into daily routines. Observation and experience guided these habits. People noticed which foods left teeth feeling cleaner and which left residue behind. Over generations, such observations shaped diets and eating patterns, quietly influencing the rhythm of daily life. The rhythm of chewing itself encouraged mindfulness. People often ate slowly, appreciating textures, flavors, and the physical process of consuming food. This slow pace contributed to oral comfort, reducing the need for vigorous cleaning and fostering a calm approach to care. Children learned these habits gradually. They observed adults chewing certain foods and learned to mimic both the pace and the selection of textures. In this way, the act of eating became an unspoken lesson in oral health, passed gently from one generation to the next. Even meals shared with others were quietly instructive. Watching family members or community members select foods and chew mindfully reinforced natural routines. Oral care became intertwined with social patterns, blending observation and practice. Over time, the combination of chewing and simple cleaning methods created a foundation for comfort. Teeth were not perfectly polished, but they were maintained in a functional, healthy state. The mouth remained responsive to daily life without urgency or complex tools. The natural wear provided by food allowed people to avoid many discomforts that might arise otherwise. By engaging with the textures of their environment, people experienced a gentle, ongoing form of care that was both nourishing and practical. These practices emphasized patience, rhythm, and awareness. Care was not separated from life. It was embedded within it, moving at the natural pace of the body and the environment. Every chew became part of a broader routine of calm attentiveness. Even without modern brushes or pastes, the simple act of eating thoughtfully contributed to oral hygiene. Chewing, combined with careful observation and subtle routines, offered a gentle, reliable way to maintain the mouth, preparing the way for more deliberate methods in later generations. Bedtime story vibe. As people sought more effective ways to care for their teeth, the use of chewing sticks became a common and gentle practice. These sticks were taken from certain trees and plants, chosen for their softness, fibrous texture, and natural properties. Each stick was simple, natural, and familiar, offering a slow, deliberate way to maintain oral comfort without any urgency or rush. Chewing sticks were often prepared carefully before use. One end might be chewed until it's separated into soft fibers, creating a natural brush. This softened tip allowed the stick to glide across the teeth and gums, gently removing debris while stimulating the mouth in a calm, soothing manner. The process was unhurried, meditative, and deeply connected to daily life. People discovered which trees and plants worked best through quiet observation. Some provided the right texture, others offered a subtle freshness or antiseptic quality. Over time, knowledge about these natural tools spread gently within families and communities, passed down without instruction, only through careful imitation and daily repetition. The rhythm of using a chewing stick was slow and mindful. Each movement followed the natural contours of the teeth, gums, and mouth. People did not hurry, and there was no rush to complete the task. Instead, the act itself was comforting, a small moment of calm within the flow of the day. These sticks were portable and simple, allowing people to care for their teeth wherever they were. Morning routines, meals, or quiet moments outdoors became natural opportunities to use them. The consistency of this habit created a reassuring rhythm that repeated over time. Children watched adults use chewing sticks and learned the practice through observation. They imitated the gentle movements, gradually mastering the careful gestures that kept the mouth comfortable. In this way, the practice became a quiet tradition, embedded in daily life. The use of chewing sticks varied slightly by region. Some sticks were chewed lightly, while others were rubbed against teeth with the fingers. Each method reflected the local environment and the subtle needs of the mouth, creating a personalized and calming routine. Even the act of selecting a stick was meaningful. People learned to choose pieces that were flexible, fibrous, and comfortable in the hand. This careful selection added another layer of attention, reinforcing patience and awareness in the process of oral care. Chewing sticks also encouraged a slow, rhythmic movement of the jaw. This movement helped maintain comfort, stimulated the gums, and reinforced a sense of connection with the body. The practice was as much about feeling as about cleaning. Over generations, the chewing stick became a natural companion to daily life. It was simple, reliable, and gentle, providing a sense of order and calm. People moved through their routines with quiet confidence, knowing that their teeth were cared for through consistent, mindful actions. These natural tools bridged the gap between eating, daily habits, and hygiene, without hurry or expectation. Chewing sticks allowed people to maintain oral comfort while living in harmony with their surroundings, laying the groundwork for more complex practices in later times. Through this slow, careful use, people experienced a quiet form of self-care. The chewing stick was more than a tool. It was a gentle rhythm, a familiar companion, and a calming part of everyday life. The preparation of chewing sticks was a quiet, thoughtful process that required patience and attention. People would select a suitable branch, often from a soft, fibrous tree, and then trim it to a convenient size. The careful selection ensured that the stick would be comfortable to hold and gentle on the teeth and gums, creating a sense of ease even before it was used. Before brushing, one end of the stick was often softened by chewing. This process separated the fibers, creating a natural brush that could glide across the teeth without causing discomfort. The gentle pressure and careful motion made each use deliberate and slow, offering a soothing, almost meditative experience. Daily use followed a predictable routine. Many people use the chewing stick in the morning, after waking, and again in the evening before resting. The repetition of these small gestures became part of the natural rhythm of life, comforting in its familiarity and consistency. Each movement was performed mindfully. The stick was held lightly, moved across the teeth and along the gums, and adjusted according to sensation. People learned to notice subtle differences in texture, pressure, and comfort, responding with gentle, controlled motions that maintained oral well-being. Water often accompanied the use of chewing sticks. A small sip or a careful rinse helped remove loosened particles and enhance the feeling of freshness. This combination of stick and water was simple, quiet, and highly effective within the context of daily routines. Children observed adults performing these actions and gradually learned the technique. They imitated the careful chewing, the soft brushing, and the gentle rinsing. Over time, the practice became second nature, embedded into the rhythm of daily life without instruction or hurry. The simplicity of chewing sticks allowed them to be used anywhere. People carried them outdoors, during travel, or while resting, creating opportunities to maintain comfort throughout the day. Their portability and ease of use made them a reliable companion for oral care. Repetition was key. Each day, morning and evening, the motions were repeated slowly and deliberately. The familiarity provided reassurance, forming a steady, calming ritual that reinforced both hygiene and mindfulness. Different regions adapted the practice according to local resources. Some used slightly harder sticks, others softer or aromatic varieties. In each case, the basic principle remained the same. Gentle, mindful care performed consistently, blending seamlessly with daily life. Even small improvements in comfort or cleanliness were noticed and appreciated. People understood that the process was gradual and ongoing. The act of using the chewing stick itself was as valuable as the result, offering a sense of calm and control over one's daily well-being. Over generations, these small, repeated actions created a foundation for lifelong habits. Chewing sticks became familiar, trusted tools, silently guiding people through their daily routines with gentle, steady rhythms. Through careful preparation and daily use, the chewing stick became more than a simple tool. It was a companion to quiet moments, a part of a natural rhythm, and a comforting practice that connected people with their bodies and their environment in a slow, mindful way. Different communities discovered over time that certain trees and plants worked better for oral care than others. People observed the texture, flexibility, and mild effects of each branch or twig, selecting those that felt gentle on the teeth and gums. The natural variety of plants provided a quiet sense of choice and subtle comfort within daily routines. Some trees were valued for their soft, fibrous wood, which separated easily into fine strands when chewed. These fibers acted as a natural brush, gliding across the teeth with a smooth, calming motion. The gentle texture allowed people to clean carefully, without harshness, creating a soothing rhythm for the mouth and jaw. Other plants offered mild flavors or scents that enhanced the sense of freshness. Herbs and aromatic leaves could be chewed or rubbed against the teeth, leaving behind a delicate fragrance. These natural aromas were subtle, never overpowering, and added a quiet sensory comfort to daily care. People learned through careful observation which plants were most effective. Some twigs might be too brittle or hard, while others had a gentle flexibility that made them ideal. Over generations, knowledge of the best plants was passed silently through imitation and repeated practice, rather than through instruction or writing. The selection process itself became a small, mindful ritual. Choosing a stick required patience and attention. People felt the texture with their fingers, testing its softness and strength, and sometimes smelled it to detect a mild freshness. This quiet attentiveness prepared the mind and body for the active care that followed. Water often complemented these natural tools. A slow rinse after using a fibrous twig or leaf helped remove loosened particles, enhancing the gentle cleansing effect. The combination of plant material and water became a comforting, predictable part of daily life. Children learned these choices gradually, observing elders select sticks and noting subtle differences between species. The knowledge became ingrained through repetition, forming habits that were familiar and soothing from an early age. In different regions, the choice of plants reflected the local environment. Communities adapted to the trees and herbs that grew nearby, creating variations in texture, scent, and flexibility. Each choice was deliberate, practical, and calming, shaped by the quiet rhythms of daily life. Even small differences in texture or aroma were appreciated. People noticed which plants made cleaning easier or more comfortable and adjusted their routines gently. This attentive approach reinforced a slow, meditative connection to the act of caring for the teeth. The use of trees and plants also connected people to the natural world. Every stick, leaf, or twig reminded them of the landscape around them, grounding oral care within a broader sense of environment and routine. Through the careful selection and use of natural materials, people created a simple, reliable practice. The daily ritual of choosing, preparing, and using plants was comforting and consistent, offering a steady rhythm of care that could be repeated for generations. Over time, this mindful use of plants laid the foundation for later methods of oral hygiene. The quiet, deliberate practices of early communities ensured that even without modern tools, teeth were cared for in a gentle, sustaining way, quietly integrated into the flow of daily life. In ancient Egypt, daily care for the mouth was woven into the fabric of life, quietly observed and practiced without hurry. People used simple tools, natural powders, and plant materials to maintain comfort and cleanliness. Hygiene was not rushed or elaborate. It followed the steady rhythm of daily routines, blending seamlessly with eating, work, and rest. The Egyptians often used small twigs from local trees, carefully prepared by chewing one end to create a soft, fibrous tip. This natural brush could glide over the teeth and gums, removing debris gently. The motion was slow and deliberate, performed with patience, and offered a sense of calm and order within the day. In addition to sticks, Egyptians used powders made from crushed minerals, such as salt, crushed shells, or finely ground stones. These powders were applied sparingly, often with a finger or soft cloth. The act of rubbing the teeth was gentle, quiet, and consistent, forming a familiar ritual each morning and evening. Water played an important role in their routines. Small rinses were used to wash away loosened particles and to refresh the mouth. The combination of powder, stick, or cloth with water created a simple but effective method for maintaining oral comfort over time. Knowledge of these practices was passed within families. Children observed their elders carefully, learning the rhythm and motions of daily care. The focus was on consistency, repetition, and a gentle awareness of the body, rather than on appearance or perfection. Herbs and aromatic plants were also sometimes included. These provided subtle scents and a mild freshness, adding a calming sensory element to the routine. The use of natural fragrances was understated, enhancing comfort without overwhelming the senses. Egyptians recognized the importance of rhythm and habit. Daily routines occurred at the same times each day, morning and evening, and sometimes after meals. The repetition created a sense of stability, quietly anchoring the day in predictable, soothing actions. Care for the teeth was integrated with broader health practices. Clean teeth were seen as part of overall comfort and balance in the body, and oral care routines were performed with attention to sensation and well-being. This mindful approach was calming and reassuring, reinforcing a steady sense of order. Even the act of choosing powders or sticks could be meditative. People selected materials with care, observing texture, softness, and suitability for gentle use. Each selection added a small moment of quiet attentiveness to the daily routine. The consistency of these ancient habits allowed people to maintain oral comfort over time. While the tools and methods were simple, the care was reliable, grounded in observation, repetition, and the gentle rhythms of life. Through these slow and deliberate practices, Egyptians experienced a sense of control and stability. Oral hygiene was not a hurried task, but a calming ritual, quietly embedded in the natural flow of each day. These routines laid a foundation for later developments in oral care. By observing, selecting, and practicing gentle methods, the ancient Egyptians maintained a comforting rhythm, showing that care for the teeth could be both simple and deeply soothing. In many ancient communities, people discovered that powdered substances could help maintain oral comfort. Tooth powders were made from finely crushed minerals, shells, ashes, and sometimes aromatic herbs. These mixtures were simple, natural, and carefully prepared, offering a slow and gentle method for caring for the teeth. The powders were applied using fingers, soft cloths, or even small sticks. Each motion was deliberate and soothing, focused on lightly rubbing the surfaces of the teeth and gums. There was no rush or urgency. The act itself became calming, a quiet pause in the flow of daily life. People learned through observation which powders were gentle enough to use regularly. Coarse substances could scratch or irritate, while fine, soft mixtures created a comforting texture. Selecting the right powder required attention and care, contributing to a slow, meditative routine. Sometimes powders were combined with water to create a soft paste-like consistency. Even a small amount added moisture, helping the powder glide over the teeth. This simple mixture enhanced the soothing, repetitive motions of brushing, adding another layer of comfort to the daily ritual. Herbs and aromatic plants were often included in these mixtures. Their mild scents added a subtle freshness, enhancing the sensory experience without overwhelming the senses. The result was a gentle, calming routine that engaged both touch and smell in a quiet, mindful way. Children learned these practices by watching adults prepare and use the powders. The steps were repeated slowly, morning and evening, until they became second nature. Knowledge was transmitted quietly, through imitation and careful attention, rather than formal instruction. Daily repetition created familiarity and reassurance. The soft brushing motions, the gentle grinding of powder between the fingers, and the slow rinsing of the mouth established a rhythm that comforted the body and mind. Oral care became a small, grounding ritual in everyday life. Even minor changes in texture or freshness were noticed and appreciated. People adapted subtly, using just enough powder to feel comfortable. The mindfulness of this process encouraged patience and attention, reinforcing a gentle approach to care. These powders were portable and simple to prepare. Small amounts could be carried, applied when needed, and stored safely. The materials were natural, always available, and reliable, making daily oral care a quiet, steady part of life. Over generations, the use of powders and mixtures complemented other methods such as chewing sticks and cloths. Together, these tools formed a slow, harmonious routine that ensured comfort and cleanliness without haste or stress. The practice emphasized the process as much as the result. Each careful motion, each small selection, was soothing and meditative. Oral care became an experience of calm attention, a gentle rhythm that quietly shaped daily life. Through these simple, repetitive practices, people maintained their teeth in a state of comfort and readiness. Even without modern toothpaste, The combination of powders, herbs, and natural materials created a slow, steady, and reassuring routine that connected generations through gentle care. In ancient Greece and Rome, oral care was part of a broader attention to personal well-being. People used a combination of natural powders, sticks, and cloths to maintain comfort in the mouth. These practices were slow and deliberate, forming a quiet rhythm in daily life, rather than a hurried or strenuous task. Greeks often valued simplicity and observation. Tooth powders made from crushed minerals, sometimes mixed with herbs, were applied gently with fingers or small tools. The motions were deliberate, moving slowly over each tooth and along the gums, creating a soothing, almost meditative routine. Water accompanied these practices. A small sip or rinse after brushing helped wash away loosened particles. This gentle combination of powder and water reinforced a steady rhythm, linking oral care with the natural flow of daily life and providing a subtle sense of refreshment. Romans, too, used natural methods carefully. Chewing sticks, soft cloths, and powders formed the basis of daily routines. Attention to texture and softness was important, ensuring that teeth and gums were not irritated. Each action was performed slowly, with mindfulness and patience. Children observed these routines as part of their upbringing. By watching elders, they gradually learned the subtle gestures of brushing, rinsing, and selecting materials. The knowledge was passed quietly and consistently, reinforcing calm habits over generations. In both cultures, herbs and aromatic substances were often included. Mild fragrances created a sense of freshness without overpowering the senses. These small additions enhanced the sensory experience of oral care, making the practice comforting and rhythmic. Daily repetition was central. Oral care was performed at predictable times, often morning and evening, sometimes after meals. This repetition created stability and reassurance, forming a gentle structure within the broader flow of daily activities. Attention to the act itself was valued. People noticed how teeth and gums felt, adjusting motions and pressure to maintain comfort. Each careful movement became meditative, connecting the individual to their own body in a subtle, mindful way. Portable tools allowed care to continue throughout the day. Chewing sticks or small amounts of powder could be carried and used as needed, ensuring that oral comfort was maintained in a consistent, unhurried manner. These routines emphasized calmness and patience. They were not about perfection or appearance, but about steady, reliable care. Through these quiet practices, both Greeks and Romans established patterns that supported health and comfort in the mouth. The combination of powders, sticks, cloths, and water created a balanced, slow rhythm. Each day offered opportunities for gentle attention and mindfulness, reinforcing the importance of consistency over speed or strength. Through these simple, deliberate practices, ancient Greeks and Romans maintained oral comfort with calm focus. Their routines were integrated into life, soothing, repetitive, and steady, providing a sense of balance and continuity that could be passed quietly from one generation to the next. In many ancient societies, people discovered that herbs could provide gentle cleaning and a subtle sense of freshness for the mouth. Aromatic plants, leaves, and small twigs were chosen carefully for their mild scents and textures. These natural materials became a soothing addition to daily routines, blending effortlessly into the calm rhythm of life. Herbs were often chewed or rubbed along the teeth and gums. The soft fibers and delicate fragrances offered both tactile and sensory comfort, helping to remove small particles while providing a quiet, refreshing aroma. Each motion was slow, deliberate, and meditative, encouraging awareness and calm. People learned through observation which herbs were most effective. Some were soft and fibrous, ideal for gentle brushing, while others offered subtle flavors or scents that enhanced oral comfort. Knowledge of these plants was shared quietly within families and communities, passed down through imitation and repeated practice. Water often complemented herbal care. A small rinse helped to remove loosened particles and carry the mild fragrances across the mouth. This combination of plant material and water reinforced the calming rhythm of daily hygiene, creating a sense of refreshment without urgency. Daily routines using herbs were predictable and reassuring. Morning and evening care included careful chewing or rubbing, followed by a gentle rinse. Repetition made the practice second nature, embedding it into the steady flow of daily life. Children learned these habits gradually. By watching elders, they observed the subtle techniques of selecting, preparing, and applying herbs. Over time, these practices became natural gestures, forming quiet, reliable routines that were familiar and comforting. The act of selecting herbs was also a meditative process. People noticed the softness, scent, and texture, choosing each leaf or twig with patience. This gentle attentiveness reinforced mindfulness, connecting the individual to their surroundings and the simple pleasures of nature. Different regions developed their own combinations of herbs based on availability and tradition. Local plants provided distinct textures and fragrances, creating subtle variations in routines. Each choice was deliberate, contributing to a sense of calm and balance. Even minor differences in freshness or texture were appreciated. People adapted their methods gently, applying herbs in a way that felt comfortable and satisfying. This careful attention promoted a slow, soothing rhythm in daily oral care. The sensory experience of herbal cleaning encouraged patience and quiet reflection. Each chew, rub, or rinse became part of a meditative routine, fostering a sense of control and comfort within the natural flow of the day. These herbal practices complemented other methods, such as chewing sticks, powders, and cloths. Together, they formed a holistic approach to oral care, emphasizing gentle, mindful attention rather than speed or perfection. Through the careful use of herbs, people experienced oral care as a calming, consistent part of life. The slow, steady practices provided both cleanliness and comfort, reinforcing a quiet rhythm that could be passed from one generation to the next. In various regions of Asia, people developed unique and gentle methods for caring for their teeth. These practices often relied on natural materials, herbal substances, and slow, deliberate movements. Oral care was integrated into daily life, forming a quiet rhythm that blended seamlessly with eating, resting, and other routines. Chewing sticks, made from specific trees and plants, were widely used. People selected branches that were soft yet fibrous, then chewed the ends to create natural brushes. The motion of gently rubbing the teeth and gums with these sticks was slow and mindful, fostering a sense of calm while maintaining oral comfort. Herbs and aromatic plants were also important. Mildly scented leaves were rubbed along the teeth or chewed, providing a subtle freshness. The focus was not on overpowering flavor or appearance, but on comfort, cleanliness, and the soothing rhythm of daily care. Water was used thoughtfully in these routines. Small sips or gentle rinses helped remove loosened particles and enhanced the feeling of refreshment. This combination of plant materials and water reinforced a consistent, slow, and calming practice. Children learned oral care by observing elders. They watched the preparation of chewing sticks, the selection of herbs, and the careful motions used to clean teeth. Gradually, these practices became ingrained habits, repeated with patience and familiarity throughout the day. Daily repetition was central to the practice. Oral care occurred at predictable times, often morning and evening, and sometimes after meals. The familiarity of this routine provided reassurance, creating a gentle structure that grounded the day in calmness. The tactile and sensory experience encouraged mindfulness. People noticed the texture of the stick, the subtle scent of herbs, and the movement of their own hands. These small attentions created a meditative quality in an otherwise ordinary activity. allowing care to become a quiet moment of reflection. Regional variations existed, influenced by local plants, climate, and tradition. In each area, people adapted materials and techniques to suit their environment, maintaining the gentle and soothing rhythm of care that was valued across generations. Even minor details were important. The softness of a twig, the length of a leaf, or the amount of water used contributed to a sense of comfort. Attention to these details reinforced patience, creating a slow, deliberate approach that was both calming and effective. These oral care traditions emphasized continuity rather than change. The methods were simple, reliable, and natural, offering a steady rhythm that required no hurry. Over time, these practices fostered a sense of comfort, balance, and attentiveness within the daily life of individuals. Through these slow, mindful habits, people maintained oral comfort with subtle consistency. Chewing sticks, herbs, and gentle rinses provided a calming, grounding routine, showing that oral hygiene could be both simple and deeply soothing across different cultures in Asia. In many parts of the Middle East and Africa, the miswak stick became a central part of oral care. This small twig, often taken from the Salvadora persica tree, was chosen for its soft yet fibrous texture and subtle natural properties. Using the miswak was a slow, deliberate practice, blending hygiene with mindfulness and tradition. The stick was carefully prepared before use. One end was chewed until the fiber separated, forming a natural brush. This allowed the stick to glide gently over teeth and gums, removing debris without harshness. Each motion was unhurried, creating a sense of calm as the person moved through their routine. Daily use followed a predictable rhythm. Many people use the miswak multiple times a day, often in the morning, after meals, and before resting. The repetition of this gentle practice created a steady, comforting routine, reinforcing a sense of stability and care. Water was sometimes used alongside the miswak, but it was not always necessary. The natural fibers and texture of the stick were sufficient for cleansing and stimulating the gums. When water was added, it enhanced the soothing, refreshing effect, making the practice feel gentle and complete. The miswak also provided a subtle sensory experience. Its natural aroma and fibrous texture added a calming dimension to oral care. Engaging both touch and smell, people learned to appreciate these subtle qualities, which enhanced comfort and mindfulness. Children observed adults using the miswak and gradually learned the careful motions. Imitating the gentle chewing and brushing became a quiet, repeated habit, embedded into daily life without formal instruction. Over time, the practice became second nature, a natural rhythm of care. The choice of the stick was important. People selected twigs of the right length, softness, and flexibility, noticing how each felt in their hands and mouth. This quiet attentiveness added another layer of mindfulness to the daily routine. Using the miswak was also connected to broader cultural and spiritual traditions. The practice was valued not only for physical cleanliness, but also for the sense of discipline, reflection, and calm it brought. The ritual itself became as meaningful as the results it produced. Even minor adjustments, such as chewing the end to create softer fibers or rubbing gently along the gums, were performed slowly and mindfully. Each motion emphasized patience and awareness, making oral care a meditative, soothing experience. The consistency of miswak use over generations provided reliability and comfort. People could move through their days knowing that their teeth and gums were cared for in a gentle, steady way, forming a quiet rhythm that supported overall well-being. Through this simple, natural practice, oral care became more than a functional task. It was a source of calm, a daily moment of mindfulness, and a connection to tradition and environment, showing that even without modern tools, people could maintain comfort and cleanliness with grace and patience. In medieval Europe, Oral care was guided by the materials and knowledge available at the time. People used simple tools, such as cloths, sticks, and powders, to maintain a sense of comfort and cleanliness. These routines were slow and deliberate, forming a quiet rhythm that blended into daily life. Cloths were often used to rub the teeth gently. Made from soft fibers, they could remove debris without causing irritation. The motions were calm and careful, repeated slowly each morning and evening. This simple practice offered a quiet pause in the day, soothing and meditative. Chewing sticks remained common in many regions. People selected twigs that were fibrous and flexible, sometimes rubbing them between the fingers before using them in the mouth. Each motion was performed gently, with mindfulness, emphasizing comfort over efficiency or appearance. Powders made from crushed minerals, salt, or ashes were also used. Applied sparingly with fingers or cloths, these substances helped remove food particles and maintain a basic level of cleanliness. Water often accompanied the powders, gently rinsing the mouth and adding a subtle sense of freshness. Children learned by observing adults, imitating the careful gestures and slow rhythm of cleaning. The knowledge was passed quietly, reinforced through repetition rather than formal instruction. Over time, these practices became natural, habitual, and comforting. Herbs and aromatic plants were sometimes added to powders or used separately. Their mild scents created a subtle sense of freshness, enhancing the sensory experience without being overpowering. The focus was on gentle care and calm attentiveness, rather than strong flavors or visual perfection. Daily routines were predictable and steady. Oral care occurred at the same times each day, morning and evening, creating a reassuring structure in the flow of life. The repetition helped establish comfort, patience, and a sense of order. Even small details were noticed and appreciated. The softness of a cloth, the choice of a stick, or the texture of a powder could influence comfort. People adjusted their methods gently, cultivating a mindful awareness of their own mouths and sensations. The emphasis was on the experience rather than the result. Cleaning the teeth became a meditative act, a quiet time for reflection, and a calming ritual in the midst of everyday tasks. Patience, attention, and repetition shaped the rhythm of care. Medieval oral hygiene practices, though simple, offered a sense of continuity and stability. Tools were natural and accessible, motions were deliberate, and care was integrated into daily life. The gentle routines helped people maintain comfort while fostering mindfulness and calm. Through these slow, attentive habits, Europeans maintained oral comfort without modern toothbrushes or toothpaste. The quiet, steady rhythms of daily care created a reassuring sense of cleanliness, grounding the body and mind in subtle, meditative routines. These practices formed the foundation for later developments in hygiene. By using natural tools with patience and mindfulness, people maintained oral health in a slow, deliberate, and deeply calming way, connected to both their environment and the steady flow of everyday life. As time passed, people began to experiment with early forms of toothbrushes, slowly moving from simple sticks and cloths to more structured tools. These early brushes were often handmade, using natural materials such as twigs, animal bristles, and soft fibers. The transition was gradual, emphasizing gentle care and mindful use rather than speed or efficiency. Early toothbrushes were carefully prepared. Handles were carved from wood or bone, while the bristles, often taken from animals, were attached by hand. The textures varied, and people learned to select softer bristles to avoid irritation. Each brush was unique, reflecting the skill and attention of its maker, and the process of creating one became a thoughtful, deliberate task. Daily use remained slow and measured. People brushed their teeth with calm, gentle strokes, moving from one section of the mouth to another. The motions were careful, mindful, and unhurried, creating a meditative rhythm that reinforced a sense of order and comfort. Water was still an important part of the process. A small rinse before or after brushing helped remove loosened particles and made the mouth feel refreshed. Combined with the soft bristles, water enhanced the soothing, repetitive motions, creating a gentle sensory experience. Children learned to use early toothbrushes by observation and practice. They watched elders carefully brush their teeth, noting the rhythm, pressure, and sequence of movements. Over time, these gestures became instinctive, forming slow, calming routines that were repeated daily. The brushes allowed for more precise care. Unlike sticks or cloths, bristles could reach small spaces between teeth, improving comfort and cleanliness. Yet the emphasis was not on perfection, but on steady, mindful maintenance and the quiet reassurance of a consistent routine. Even small details mattered. People adjusted the angle of the brush, the pressure applied, and the amount of water used, all performed slowly and deliberately. This careful attentiveness reinforced patience and mindfulness, making each session a soothing practice. Herbs and powders were sometimes added to the routine. Brushing with a soft mixture of ground herbs or fine minerals enhanced freshness, creating a gentle sensory experience that was calming and satisfying. The addition of natural substances maintained continuity with older, traditional methods. Early toothbrushes were portable and personal. Each brush became a familiar companion, guiding the hands and mouth through repeated, deliberate motions. The practice was comforting, providing a sense of control and balance within the rhythm of daily life. Through this gradual transition, people learned that tools could support hygiene without diminishing the calm, mindful quality of care. The early toothbrush combined the gentle principles of past routines with a slightly more structured approach, offering both comfort and subtle efficiency. These early innovations paved the way for more modern dental care. By maintaining a focus on slow, deliberate use, people preserved the soothing, rhythmic qualities of oral hygiene, ensuring that even new tools could be incorporated into quiet, meditative routines. The shift from sticks and cloths to early toothbrushes shows a continuity of care. The underlying principle remained the same: gentle, attentive, and consistent practices that fostered comfort, mindfulness, and a calm connection to one's body and daily life. The introduction of toothpaste marked a quiet but significant development in oral care. Early forms were made from natural substances such as crushed herbs, chalk, ashes, and aromatic powders. These mixtures were simple, gentle, and designed to enhance the slow, mindful routines that had been passed down through generations. People applied toothpaste using fingers or early toothbrushes, performing gentle, deliberate motions across the teeth and gums. The emphasis remained on comfort and consistency, rather than speed or perfection. Each movement was slow, reinforcing a meditative rhythm that calmed the mind and body. Water was often combined with these pastes. A small rinse helped remove loosened particles and added a soothing sensation to the routine. The combination of soft paste and water created a sensory experience that was subtle and comforting, engaging both touch and taste gently. Children learned to use toothpaste gradually. By watching adults, they observed the careful application and slow brushing motions. Repetition reinforced the rhythm of care, embedding a calm, steady routine into daily life from an early age. Different recipes for toothpaste existed in various regions. Some were made with fine powders, herbs, or essential oils to create mild flavors and gentle cleansing effects. The variations were subtle, but all focused on maintaining comfort and reinforcing mindful habits. The introduction of paste allowed for more thorough cleaning while maintaining the soothing quality of oral care. Bristles, sticks, or fingers moved slowly through each area of the mouth, ensuring that teeth and gums received consistent, gentle attention without causing irritation. Even the preparation of toothpaste could be a quiet ritual. Measuring, mixing, and testing textures required attention and patience. These small gestures contributed to a meditative practice, connecting people to their daily care in a thoughtful, deliberate way. The sensory experience was valued. Aromas, textures, and the feeling of cleanliness added to the comfort of routine. Oral care became more than functional. It became a slow, reflective part of daily life, offering reassurance and calm. Daily repetition remained central. Morning and evening routines, sometimes accompanied by meals, established a steady, predictable rhythm. The gentle motions of brushing with toothpaste became a familiar and soothing pattern. Through the use of early toothpaste, oral hygiene evolved without losing its meditative quality. People learned that cleanliness and comfort could coexist, and that slow, deliberate care was as important as the tools or materials themselves. These early pastes complemented existing methods like chewing sticks, cloths, and powders. Together, they formed a harmonious routine, emphasizing gentle, mindful care while gradually introducing more structured cleaning techniques. Over time, toothpaste became a trusted companion in daily routines, enhancing oral comfort while preserving the calm, deliberate rhythms that had guided oral care for centuries. It was a bridge between traditional methods and modern hygiene, maintaining a soothing connection to the body and the slow flow of daily life. In modern times, oral care has become more structured and widely accessible, with toothbrushes, toothpaste, floss, and mouth rinses readily available. Yet the essence of care, the slow, deliberate attention to comfort, cleanliness, and rhythm, remains deeply connected to traditions that stretch back thousands of years. Even with advanced tools, the underlying principle of gentle, mindful care continues to guide daily routines. People now have tools designed for precision and effectiveness. Soft bristled brushes, ergonomic handles, and specialized pastes allow teeth and gums to be cleaned thoroughly while minimizing discomfort. The motions are still slow and deliberate, echoing the care practiced by generations before, maintaining a quiet connection to the meditative rhythm of oral hygiene. Water continues to play a subtle but essential role. Gentle rinsing, sipping, or swishing enhances cleanliness, removing debris and leaving a calming, refreshing sensation. The combination of modern tools and water supports a soothing sensory experience, making daily care a comforting ritual rather than a hurried task. Children today learn through observation, guidance, and practice, much like in ancient times. Watching parents or caregivers, they imitate careful motions, gradually mastering routines that are both effective and calming. The emphasis on repetition, mindfulness, and comfort has persisted, offering continuity across centuries. Despite technological advances, the foundational elements of oral care remain rooted in nature. Soft bristles, gentle pastes, and careful motions echo the fibrous sticks, powders, and herbs of the past. The practices have evolved, but the principles, patience, attentiveness, and consistent rhythm remain unchanged. The sensory experience continues to be valued. Smooth bristles, mild flavors, and the feeling of cleanliness create reassurance and comfort. Oral care has retained its subtle meditative quality, transforming a simple act into a slow, mindful ritual that can ground the mind and body in calmness. Daily repetition is central. Morning and evening routines, occasionally supplemented by after-meal care, establish predictable patterns. This regularity provides both structure and tranquility, reinforcing a sense of order and control in everyday life. Even minor adjustments in technique, pressure, angle, duration, are performed mindfully. The focus is on gentle efficiency, preserving comfort while maximizing cleanliness. This careful attention encourages patience, self-awareness, and an appreciation for the rhythm of personal care. Modern oral hygiene, while technologically advanced, continues the legacy of centuries-old traditions. The evolution from sticks, powders, dentists, and stick products, only enhancing the whole rhythm. And herbs to brushes and pastes represents progress, but it also preserves the calming, repetitive, and meditative qualities that humans have valued for millennia. Through the combination of historical wisdom and modern innovation, people maintain oral comfort, cleanliness, and health with steady, soothing routines. Oral care has become both functional and calming, a daily practice that nurtures the body and mind, connecting generations through slow, attentive care. Ultimately, the story of oral hygiene is one of continuity. From the simple sticks and powders of ancient civilizations to the sophisticated tools of today, the guiding principle remains the same: gentle, deliberate, and consistent care. This rhythm of attention, passed through centuries, continues to offer comfort, calm, and a sense of well-being in every quiet morning and evening.